And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Welcome, guys. How are you? Joe, how are you? Can you hear me?
I am great. I was kind of laughing because everyone in the chat room is like, late as always, technical difficulties, and Mr. Rolandis is like, I never expected to be on time. Neither do we.
Yeah.
It's just the time that we're going to start getting ready.
Yeah.
That's what it turns out to be.
It's 2-ish on Fridays. I think that's the...
2:30-ish.
2:30-ish. Guys, welcome to the broadcast. It's great to be here. The phone number is 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. Of course, I am live from Los Angeles. Joe Tillman is live in Vancouver, British Columbia. And this is the Hair Loss Show. This is the Bald Truth. I can't say the Hair Loss Show anymore because there is now a Hair Loss Show. But this is the original Hair Loss Show, I guess I should say, because I've been calling the Bald Truth the Hair Loss Show since 1998. But I also don't want to cause any confusion.
That's okay.
Hear what I'm saying, Joe?
I feel you. I know where you're going with that, and I don't think anyone can confuse anything with regards to this, because this is the OG right here.
Oh, we are the OG. I am the OG for sure, and I'm feeling it. I have to tell
you're the OG, but I'm talking about the show.
No, I'm saying I have to say that I got a really cheap set of headphones in today. Usually use my Bose headphones, but I'm like, you know what? I like they're great noise canceling headphones, and they really create a nice dynamic sound when I'm doing the show as well. But they kind of make they're big, and they kind of make my ears uncomfortable after a long period of time. So I decided to get a cheap set for $12. And I got to tell you, I could definitely hear the difference. Not as fun. They look good. And
round of applause, everyone.
They feel good. And they look good, and they're much more comfortable. But it's the way that it is.
And doggone it, people like you. They look good. They feel good.
I hope so.
And doggone it, people like me.
Listen, guys, if you are new to the broadcast, don't know who we are, I'm the founder of the American Hair Loss Association. I've been doing this program for just about 23 years in all different formats. Joe Tillman is the original hair transplant mentor. He is a guy who has dealt with hair loss since he was a baby. No, since he was a very young man. Unfortunately, he made some mistakes.
That's so fucked up. He's been dealing with hair loss since he was conceived.
Since the age of 4. He made some mistakes along the way, and through those mistakes, he was able to luckily find... What do you want to say, Joe?
Did you say 2 or 3?
A few. You made a few mistakes.
Okay.
He was
what are we talking about?
Able to find his salvation eventually by finding the right hair transplant surgeon to provide him with corrective surgery that essentially changed his life. He then got into the field, started to work in the trenches for the surgeons and the surgeon that helped him out. And I guess the rest is history. Mm-hmm. This guy has had 9 hair transplants and, 10 hair transplants. And look, the reality is I know where all the bodies are buried in this field. I've worked with countless surgeons in this field, and we are the clearinghouse for complaints. But there is nobody in this industry that has the in the trenches experience that Joe Tillman has, as far as not just the number of surgeries. I mean, Specs has had a lot of surgeries as well. But as far as working in a really well-known, well-respected clinic day in and day out for years, seeing all the work coming in from the other guys, all the repair work that had to be done, fielding all the complaints and concerns and dealing with the emotional aspect of those who are dealing with going through surgery. Guy has seen it all. And I got to tell you that I find it, I'm going to say I find it almost dazzling or even repugnant that there are people out there who would even suggest that Joe Tillman doesn't know what he's talking about on the internet. Because maybe his hairline is, has been placed naturally high and is perfectly placed for a 50-year-old man. Or, other things like that. Joe, when I hear you give people advice on your channel, and by the way, if you're listening to the broadcast, you can watch the show on Joe Tillman's YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/hair transplant mentor. You could also watch an embed of the show on thebaldtruth.com. But we used Joe's page to broadcast a live show for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to see Joe's page really blossom, which it has, with or without the Bald Truth. And I'm too lazy to deal with my own shit right now. I'm really only doing this because Joe pulled me back in.
That's true. That's true. You almost didn't see any more of Spencer. I pulled him back in. It's my fault.
Yeah. So, sorry, guys. That's a reality. I'm sure there's a lot of physicians in the field and a lot of people in the field who would have preferred that to be the case. But I'm here, and, we've had a really interesting 2020, not just the world at large, and not just what's happening here in the United States, politically and pandemic-wise, but a really interesting year in the hair world. And we kind of made a significant paradigm shift as far as how the field is going to operate. And we're moving in an even more expansive direction with that. But I think most importantly, how physicians who get into this field get their education and information on how to treat patients the way they should be treated. And it really has been a shift, Joe, because I was speaking to a physician today who is very well known. He has, been involved with, the politicians as well as involved in what we do. And the word is out. You're getting blurry. The word is out that GHLS essentially schooled the rest of the field and provided kind of like set a new bar that provided people, I would say that energized people to really think, okay, you know what? There is a right way to do this and there's a wrong way to do this. And if we do it right and if we focus, we're going to help a lot more patients. And frankly, business is going to be a lot better because patients are going to be happier in general.
I just saw that. I'm sorry. I just saw my camera go out of focus for some reason. From back.
Yeah, okay. It's back. All right, guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. We'll take your calls in 1 second, so hold on. But yeah, I mean, this is, not to pat ourselves on the back. This is really, the reason why this succeeded, Joe, is because the industry wanted it. And they had nowhere to turn. They didn't understand that it was possible to affect change in this manner and to put out content in a way that's really going to be helpful to everybody.
Well, I think you're absolutely right that the industry was asking for this, but they didn't realize. It's funny. It's like they're asking for it, but they didn't realize it until it actually happened, as far as I'm concerned. Because it basically, from the outside, it looked like any other event we're talking about what we put together. And then once it happened, it blew everyone's minds. They had no idea how simple it could be, yet at the same time being so comprehensive in scope. And that was that was, I don't know, it was a beautiful thing to see. And it makes me hopeful for 2021, for how this industry is finally embracing the possibility that there's a different way to do things.
Well, I think it shows
because of the involvement that we've gotten from others in the industry that are in a position to help facilitate this change. They're on board with this, and that's what I like seeing.
Well, what
that's
I think
awesome.
I think what was interesting to see is that you're right. Once people saw, I don't know why I sound so low in my headset. You sound really loud. Once people saw that, wait a second, there's another way of getting this done, and this can then relate to how we end up, getting information out to patients, and it's easy, like you said, it's comprehensive. There's no smoke and mirrors involved. It's just a platform that provides the needed information for physicians to be able to do the right thing for patients. It's not just watching a whole bunch of lectures. It's not just sitting there and
PowerPoint presentations,
being bored to death by fucking PowerPoint presentations. It's about actually getting inside information, the kind of stuff that you can get that really you only get in the hallways of these brick and mortar conferences, but directly into their homes. And I tried to express what we were doing to a lot of different people in the field. No one got it. I think at first you didn't get it, all of it, until you kind of saw some of it coming together.
It helps to see things for it to gel in my head.
Yeah, no,
very simple like that.
We're both simple. All right, let's stop talking about that. Just the end game is this is better for everyone who's watching the show and listening to the show. There's going to be a lot more or better informed physicians who are already in the trenches, who are out there performing surgery every day and are starting to see the light. Like, you know what? You can't fuck up people on a consistent basis and maintain a living and a practice in this field. It's no longer going to be tolerated, and it can't happen.
Well, and the exciting part of this for consumers, for the patients, is that 2021 is going to see the introduction of something for you to help with your research. Not so much like an informational clearinghouse of any sort, but just something to help guide you in better understanding what you're looking at from one clinic website to the next. And in my can't reveal too much about it right now, but in my view, it's going to be a game changer for the baseline of who to trust. I'll leave that with you guys to chew on.
And you know what? It's actually big news. It's big news. It's exciting what's going to happen this year. And my hope is that, well, frankly, everyone's going to have to come on board. That's just the way that it's going to be. And because it's just it's all positive. And it's
and by coming on board, they will be, sorry to interrupt, they will be modifying how they do things, which is to the benefit for the patient.
Right. No, it's so cryptic. People are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Just take a phone call. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
It's Curtis from Virginia. Remember me?
Curtis, man. How are you?
What up, Curtis?
I'll give you a quick reminder. 50s, had multiple procedures. Last time I called was a while back, told you a crazy story about my mother, what she did to me as a kid. You guys freaked out. She said, would you lose your hair? No one will love you. And we had a whole laugh. And we talked about that for a while.
I remember that, Curtis.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, man.
Yeah. So I sent you guys a picture. That's when with hairspray topic, all that. You said it looked really good. So 5 weeks ago, I got a repair done.
You got a repair done?
Yeah.
Okay. Who'd you go to?
Okay.
Dr. Lindsay.
Dr. Lindsay. Okay. How'd it go?
Okay.
Great. I just sent 2 pictures to Joe of before and then the next day. So if you want to look at it real quick, it's up to you. So it went really well, and he even recommended before I do anything, I go to your site. And by that, he said, that there's a lot of you do your research. And I met two patients, one my age who had been in the 80s, the same doctor I'd been to, and then another doctor I'd been to. I got to meet him and talk to him, and then I got to meet another repair patient. So everything you guys talked about, it was great.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a
Very nice.
there's a significant, I think, message there. There are physicians who won't even take the time to introduce you to patients, and or maybe have just.
No, he insisted I come in when they were working on someone too.
Yeah, and that's the way
Good.
it's supposed to be.
I like hearing that.
You want to be able to see the entire process. You want to be allowed in to to meet with someone who has similar hair characteristics, scalp characteristics, and similar needs.
I don't know if you remember, I even backed out. I'd given him a deposit like 2 years ago and backed out, but he still honored
I remember that. Yeah.
And he still honored it.
And no, he's a good dude. He's a good dude.
Never tried to push me, but in the conversation I had a couple months ago, he said, have you heard of the Ball Truth? I said, yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Started laughing. But I called. He goes, well, that's one I recommend, do research, and look things up.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that he did that. I'm glad. And so, okay, so you're 5 weeks out of surgery. Talk about
Joe, did you see the pictures I just sent you?
I did. I'm trying to drag them into my system here.
One's
give me some
right
time.
before, one's the day before, and then one is the day after. 1,350 grafts.
Here we go. I think I got it there. Okay. Open. Yeah, there's one. And then our software has changed, Spencer. I don't know if you know this. It's not as easy to just drag in images.
Really? What happened?
He said, he goes, I've got to make good decisions, he said, because my dinner area is about done from all these procedures and the.
Okay,
but
so this, I think this is important. So he didn't try to sell you anything. He told you to do your research, to be careful. This is your last chance, basically.
All. He said when I was there, said if you want to do it, just call us back if you have any questions. The opposite of that, actually, And then I stayed there for 5 days, and every day I came in and they washed it and cleaned it for me.
Oh, cool.
He said, we want this to work more than you. Trust me. And so they even gave me a haircut on the 7th day.
Yeah, well, I mean, the last thing that these guys want is to have an unhappy patient, and I think that's important for people to hear as well, because there's a lot of guys out there who believe that, there are doctors who, they don't necessarily give a shit. They give a shit. Most doctors give a shit, but the problem is a lot of doctors don't have the hands or the ability or the knowledge or the staff that has the skill set to provide state-of-the-art surgery. And
he said, you're going to be the only patient. We do one patient. That's going to be it. And all the things you've talked about, all the research I've done over the years, checked every box. And I really liked that. I got to meet people, and he encourages you to be in there when people are getting worked on and meet other patients and meet other patients like you and what you can expect, that kind of thing.
Well, okay, so Curtis, we have an image of you on the air right now. It's about to pop up, and there's a little delay, but I'm seeing it right now. And so, Joe, is that an image of what? A few days post-op? 5 days post-op?
No, it looks like day before December 10th is what it's saying. 9:40 a.m. Is that the day before?
Yeah. That's
remind the viewers what we're looking at here. It looks like previous work that looks like it's becoming isolated in the front.
Yeah, exactly. It was plugged back in the 80s with Wydick, what's his name?
Wydick, yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, Wydick times. And then
that guy owned that town for so long.
Yeah. I just, everybody, that's what I mean. So he had a patient my age. He goes, so-and-so's coming in a little while. Hang around to meet him. He went to Wydick, same time you did.
Yeah.
And went to the same, and I went to a guy in Virginia who's now Bosley, like 10 years ago. So, I mean, I have some coverage, you can see, I have some hair. you put some like toppings of it. I was passable. I was just tired of doing all that, to be honest.
Tell me about it. It took me. I told you I'm going to be 10 minutes late. I got to like really up my paint job game today.
Yeah, I mean, it was enough.
Yeah.
It just couldn't deal with it. And so you see the next picture, right? The graphs. I mean, it's not the best light, but I think you can get an idea of what work was done.
Joe, can you share the next picture? Okay.
There it is.
In that area.
Yeah,
you were talking about.
If that grows in well, it's going to be there's going to be a clean. It's going to be clean, and it looks like there's going to be a pretty significant difference. How many grafts total?
Yeah.
Well, I want do me a favor and explain what happened in the surgery. Like he had 1,300 and change for grafts, but what exactly did he do?
Well, he said he wasn't sure how many he'd be able to get because of. He said definitely no FUE. Under no circumstance would he do a FUE on me.
Mm-hmm.
He said with scarring and your donor area, he said anybody that would do that, he wouldn't do it. So no matter what, so he saw the areas you just saw and said, we want to, get that front fixed, and whatever we have, we'll work back. And we'll fix that front and work back from there. And
so did he do any removal on those old plugs?
No. We both agree. No, I didn't want that. My view was worst case. I stay how I am. The worst thing. His view is same thing. Just we'll pack around it. You have thick hair, curly hair. It'll be fine.
Well, look to me like what may happen is if everything grows in well, you're going to have more camouflage for the stalkiness that you were dealing with. You're still going to have to use Topic. There's no. I mean, you're not going to have full coverage in any way, shape, or form.
No. But I think the front and the hairline will look better.
But the front of the hairline will look softer. It will look better, and you're going to be able to navigate, or I should say, just kind of use the fibers or a germ match in a. It's going to be easier for you to create the illusion of having a flood of hair.
Yeah. I mean, I know that's where I am because of the damage that's been done.
Well, it's two reasons. The damage that's been done, and also you've progressed over the years.
Yeah.
But I think that's the key. If you can maintain, and that is key. And no one seems to get that. When I see guys getting super dense packed, low hairlines at a young age, I think to myself, okay, well, it could look, especially if it's done well today, say at the art. Follicular unit transplants or FUE, it could look good for a couple of years. It really can. But most of these guys will be relegated to having to use some sort of fibers or derm match for a while, or maybe even a piece behind it. If finasteride, for instance, if finasteride doesn't work well.
So how does it look what he did from your eye, you guys? Because, it looks pretty good work what he did.
To me?
Yeah,
I'd say that it looks clean. It's very conservative, from what I was able to see on the screen.
Yeah,
and
this is 1 day post-op.
Yeah,
I see nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. I mean, I think the design is clean.
A more in-depth observation is that I don't see like you've got discoloration in the front. Like it looks like
that's from some tanning stuff.
I'm sorry?
That's for some tanning stuff I was using.
Okay, well, I'm talking about with the placement of the grafts. It looks like it's darker because
red.
It was either all packed in that area or it was of a higher density. It was only 1,300 and change. So imagine that if there's anything behind it, I see some behind it.
I think it was like 70 singles in the front.
Yeah,
he broke it down, and then he packed those in the hairline. Yeah, that was my main focus.
I mean, like Spencer said, it's conservative. Like he didn't try to alter the shape really. He just
right.
He's just filling in between. And look, your hair type is ideal for this because you got a curl to it. It looks like you got a mix of brown and maybe some salt and pepper in there as well. Is that what I'm seeing?
Exactly. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. So that, and you're a pasty white guy, so I mean it works, right? You have a low contrast ratio between the hair color and the scalp color. It's curly, and you've got the mix of colors. It's ideal, actually. It doesn't get any better than this. So, assuming good growth, you'll have a great result.
That's what he said. He didn't promise me, you're going to have a full, but he said we're going to fill in just what you guys just described is what our consultation was. Yeah. We're going to take, we're going to fill in those gaps. We're going to make it less pluggy, smooth out the hairline, and then work back some. That was it. I mean, that's what I can do. That was the goal.
Well, I think, listen,
not to change it.
So far, you had a really good experience. There's nothing to indicate that it's not going to, you're not going to do well. So everything that I see right now, and I'm not a physician, but just even based on, just based on what, how you describe the experience to seeing the after pictures or the post-op pictures, I think you're going to look a lot better, and it's going to make your life easier.
That's the goal, but. Really, all I can say to you, he had me do a video too. He does videos. Yeah. And on the video, I mention you guys, and I say how.
Thank you.
But I said on the video, I said these decisions, for people who haven't been through this, where it can F your life up. Don't do your research. Whatever you do your research. This is not a minor decision. And I said, if Dr. Lindsay has my number, call me. I'll tell you that it's this. What you guys are doing a service, because it took me 5 years to get to do this, but it was just really from listening to you guys and finally having a doctor to check the box, that checked every box you guys said to ask about.
Well, I'm so glad that you had a good experience, and I keep my fingers crossed that you're going to call us in 6 months and say, this has really been life-changing. But just, again, based on what I see, I definitely don't see you coming out worse for the wear. And even if half of those grafts grew, you'd still be better off.
Yeah, and like I said, I came in there every day for 5 days, and they cleaned it and took care of it.
Yeah,
even Saturday and Sunday.
I'm sure you're going to get a high yield. I'm just saying, but even if you didn't for some reason, you would still see a noticeable improvement. Just based on what I see. And again, there's no guarantees in anything.
It's 5 weeks. I'm in the sucky phase right now, but, that's the way it is.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, Curtis, I appreciate the call.
I appreciate it. I just wanted to thank you guys because so far it looks good. I've had it 6 times. This is the most optimistic I've ever been. You know what I mean? That I did the right thing finally. And thank you guys if it works. So, but if it doesn't, that's
awesome.
Yeah, if it doesn't, go fuck yourselves.
I just want to call to thank you. Appreciate it. And if it didn't work out, go fuck yourself.
No, but I'll keep you updated.
Okay, Curtis. Listen, good luck. Happy New Year, man.
Awesome.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
888-659-3727. Very nice. A frog in my throat. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this? Where are you calling from? Yeah. Go ahead, Joe. What are you going to say, Joe?
No.
Hey, Joe.
No, let's do the call.
Hey, Spencer. Hey. It's Morty.
Oh, shit.
Oh, hey, man. What's up, Morty?
Happy New Year, Morty.
Happy New Year, guys. Welcome to 2021.
Oh, my God. And we thought it couldn't get worse.
Yep.
My God.
2020 said, check out what I did. 2021 says, yeah, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
Holy crap, dude. Well, what's interesting is, that, what is it? Buffalo Man is actually a bald man who was wearing a buffalo rug on his head. I don't know if you noticed that.
I did not notice that. But I do know a guy, his name is Tim Dillon, and he's become a pretty well-known comedian, and he does Joe Rogan all the time now. Tim originally was, the first time I met Tim, and never met him in person, was on Guys from Queens. We actually did a show at one point together, just one show, but he was doing work with Andrew. And what's funny is if you look at my Facebook page, that picture is really old of my studio. and there's Tim Dillon. There's Tim Dillon on my monitor, which I found, which is hilarious because he's become so big. But he did a video, essentially, that was one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. That was this guy wearing that outfit, talking about why he did what he did. So check out Tim Dillon on YouTube. I mean, it's already probably gotten about 100,000 views, if not more. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. This guy has a really funny take on things.
Well, I mean, putting a buffalo skin on your head is one way to solve your hair loss problem. Certainly, I mean, definitely.
Oh yeah,
it really is.
Things I didn't even want to talk. I mean, the reality of life and what's happening, and that other people around the world in different countries are watching us, saying, "Oh man, the end is near." We are certainly not putting our best foot forward. Let's put it that way.
Oof. Man, it's funny because I have a little sweetheart, an on again, off again person that I talk to in Colombia, and for the first time, I'm thinking to myself, it's interesting that the political situation in Colombia is actually more stable than it is here in the States right now, which I never thought I'd ever say before in my life.
Dude, what I saw happen the other day was like we were honestly in a banana republic. In my lifetime, I could never have imagined this happening in the United States of America. Well, any of it that's happened the entire year. But the culmination of it, to get to this point, it was just like, oh my God. I just got to stay in my glass castle. I got to build those fucking walls. I got to figure out whether or not I'm in
California, man. I don't even want to.
Dude, it's starting in the chat room.
What?
Here it comes. Some comments about the situation.
Oh. Well, it's not about it's not about Trump or it's not about the left. It's about what's happening to human beings on both sides. That's the craziness.
Yeah. Yeah. But the blame is already like in the chat room. The blame is happening. So. I'll say this: the only persons to blame for this are every one of you motherfuckers out there that are participating with the comments and the opinions and all that, because it all builds up into one big fireball. That's how this came to be. So everyone's to blame for it. Everyone.
I was watching.
So anyone that says blame so and so, you're just as much to blame as they are.
Somebody sent me a tweet of this idiot who is out front of the Capitol taking pictures, with a shelf and a peace sign. So there was this whole Twitter thread, basically trying to find out who this person was, so she could be canceled out of life.
Oh, jeez.
And essentially, this woman is probably no longer working. And while it was a very stupid move, that's the mentality of this entire country now.
Well, we live in a world where you open your mouth or you do something in front of a camera and your life is pretty much done. And I think back to my 20s. I've been in that world for a long time, though, man. So I have been especially in the hair world. It all started. All this insanity started because of bald guys. Just saying.
It's all because of bald guys.
Dude, the bald guys. If he wasn't bald and he had a good head of hair, he wouldn't have had to put a buffalo thing on his head, painting his face.
The first time I really started to see the ugliness of the internet was through this industry and guys who were dealing with hair loss, and it kind of just then mushroomed out to all different avenues, and obviously what's happening on social media. Whatever side you're on, you know what people should be on the side of? Just creating some normalcy in this country again. And that's it. And hopefully everyone does just move forward. But god damn, man, these keyboard warriors are just like, Jesus Christ. No one really knows what the fuck is going on as far as, what's happening behind the veil and what's happening in politics. We're just being spoon-fed all the information from all the different, mainstream media outlets, and then people just fucking take the ball and run, whether it's Fox News or whether it's CNBC,
because they believe it.
Right.
Depending on what side of the spectrum you want to fall on, you take it and run. No one does their own research. No one looks into things for themselves and start to think about it and look at things objectively either way. And frankly, they all look like fools. Like I don't get involved. Like I ask questions here and there every once in a while. Like some of my Facebook friends and stuff will say something. I'll ask a simple question, and then I'm the enemy. And all I did was ask a simple question.
I won't even like a post.
And
I won't even make a comment. I won't even like a post. I don't want to be, you know, I think that when you are in this world, I mean, yeah, maybe everyone's like, okay, freedom of speech. We want to be able to provide information out there. So why use these fucking outlets? Why not have conversations in your home? Why not have group, get back, go old school?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because that takes too much energy and that takes too much accountability. Because if you're not behind a keyboard, 3,000 miles away, then you're not safe. If you're face to face with friends and family talking about this stuff, then there's repercussions for things that you say. It's called debate, and most people don't want to debate. Like anytime I've ever engaged someone with a simple question for them to justify something that they said, then it becomes, now I'm this, I'm that. Like they never answer the question, and I'm the bad guy. Or they'll say you must be a supporter of such and such. I don't even talk to people like you. That's easy. That's safe. That's convenient. But if they're sitting right here with me, it's like then they got to actually man up and back up what they say. And no one does it.
Look, you know how
on
I
either
feel
side.
about it? I'm just
it's
like,
ridiculous.
Look, I work within the parameters of our society and what we have to deal with. Whatever happens is going to happen. God forbid we live in a society where, trying to earn a living legally is going to be more difficult. Then we have to figure out ways to work around that. But I can tell you this: no matter what, I'm going to be fine. I go with the flow. I don't sit there and try to make a stink or try to, debate the world, because we have no control over that. We only have control over what we do ourselves. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, you guys have had you guys have exercised a lot of great control over the hair loss industry with the Global Hair Loss Summit, and just putting it out there that I've seen tail end of of all of these doctors being grateful that you went out there and stuck your neck out and tried to reinvent the exchange of information for doctors, and all of us patients are better off for it. So,
thank you for that.
Kudos to both of you for doing that. The big challenge, obviously, going forward is going to be, because it's been a challenge for this industry because of the pandemic, and with what's been going on with this new strain coming out of the UK and this other strain coming out of South Africa, it means that going to get these types of procedures in 2021 is going to be as challenging as it was in 2020, at least in the near term.
What about getting laid?
Frankly, well, let's not even talk about that. Holy shit, dude! I went ahead and I got into a clinical trial of a vaccine, and then I just called an old friend, who was also raring to go because she hadn't seen any action in a while.
Yeah.
And then I come back and I get my antibody test and I'm still negative. I'm like, fuck, it means I didn't end up getting the damn vaccine.
Right.
She's like, oh, don't worry. I'm like, fucking hell, man.
Look, at this point,
like 1980s
damn it.
and fucking,
Listen, at this point, you could say, look, COVID-free, got herpes, you get a high five. And that's it.
Tell me about it,
You're
man.
good. That shit's not going to kill you.
Oh, that's man. Good. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Our governor's basically saying that 75-year-olds are going to have to wait till April to get their first shot. Really? Israel, 70% of 65-year-olds in Israel have already been vaccinated. What the fuck, dude?
I can tell you this, and I try not to be political, but I could say that we both unfortunately live in states where the state government, in my view, is absolutely out of control and insane. You talk about illogical, and you talk about, I don't even understand it. What's happening here in California Los Angeles County. If I walk outside, it is literally not only like tumbleweeds, and I'm not just talking about my hair. It's like it's so it's so desolate. You know, I've never been nervous walking in Beverly Hills or Century City at night. No way would I do that now.
No, I believe you. I mean, I was reading this article that basically you can call an ambulance, and in Los Angeles, and you may get an ambulance, you may not.
Yeah.
I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah. That's why I don't do any blackout drinking anymore. I don't want to take that chance.
I just stay blacked out.
You just stay blacked out.
Yeah. Well, you're in Toronto, man, so you're fine. No, that's right. You're in Vancouver, so you're
yeah.
Joe, right? Yeah, you're in Canadian.
Yeah, this is Joe.
Okay.
Yeah. But I do have fantasies of moving to Texas, though. I'm going to be completely candid with everybody. So it's possible this program will be coming to you live from either Houston or Austin at some point.
I got friends in Texas, man. They say it's pretty nice over there.
Say that again?
I said I've got friends in Texas, and they say it's pretty nice. I got an old high school friend of mine in Texas, and she's like, "Come on over." And again, But hey, so
I think you'll enjoy Texas more than Florida. I mean, he basically went and decided to move to a place where people go to die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh no!
You can tell if they get the blue plate special by the color of their hair.
Jesus. Well, I can't tell you this. They're the one thing that they're smart about is they've made sure that their 65-plus-year-olds have gotten vaccinated. I've got friends telling me that their parents are all vaxxed up over there.
Yeah.
So which is better than here in New York. So there's that. But yeah, just to change the subject a little bit. So I'm coming up on my second month with post cocktail. Not really seeing much. I think maybe even there may have even been a little bit of shed, a little bit of loss. But I mean, it's difficult to say. Interestingly, I'm finding a little bit more in the way of beard growth potentially. And the donor area seems to be a little bit thicker.
Really?
So I'm not really sure if that could be because of the cocktail or because of the addition of oral minoxidil. The one thing I can say is that my blood pressure has gotten a little bit better.
Okay, wait a second.
The oral minoxidil has worked.
Wait a second. I don't remember you telling me that you added oral minoxidil.
Yeah, I added oral minoxidil to the regimen at basically the same time as I had the cocktail done by Dr. Cole.
Okay, so this is what's interesting. So there was a guy from Spain who did a great presentation at Global Hair Loss Summit talking about his experiences with oral minoxidil and other agents. I can tell you that we just got a testimonial from a doc that we're going to put up talking about what he learned at the conference. So many guys now, because of GHLS, are now offering, and it's interesting that you said that, offering low-dose minoxidil, oral minoxidil to their patients because of this one talk. I mean, it changed. Yep. It's amazing, Joe. When I think about that. Because everyone is telling me they're adding it. They were concerned about it before. So it's going to be interesting.
It was a great presentation, and it's something I looked at for myself. The hell just dropped. At least, I think about 10 years ago I looked at it because Lonitin oral minoxidil has been around forever.
Yeah.
And the only reason, I don't remember what he was saying about this, but the only reason why I didn't jump on board was because of the low potential, but potential for cardiac related side effects. It's the only reason why I didn't jump on board. But I am a believer in it as an oral adjunct to add to finasteride, dutasteride, mesotherapy, whatever. And I think it's a lot more effective than topical for sure.
What dosage are you using?
5 milligrams.
Okay, so you take 5 milligrams a day. And so have you noticed anything, water retention or any other side effects?
No, the only side effect I've noticed is a lowering of blood pressure, which is actually a side effect that I needed. I basically, before I went in November, I had actually gone in for a physical. And I don't know if it's just because of COVID anxiety or what, or maybe even a little bit of extra weight that I put on, but my blood pressure had been consistently high.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, you know what? If I'm going to be 130 over 90 every day, and the doc said, listen, you need to buy a blood pressure cuff, which I've done.
Yeah.
I said, screw it, man. I might as well try the oral minoxidil if for no other reason than to see if it has any effect on my blood pressure.
Well, and I think
it has.
And again, I'm not a physician, but I think that's actually a good move. And I've heard some tremendous results, especially a combination of finasteride and oral minoxidil. We never really talk about it much on the program, but now that more doctors are willing to prescribe it, and I have to tell you, there's no doubt in my mind GHLS changed that game, because I'm telling you, today, you'll see this testimonial. This doctor said the reason he decided to add this to his arsenal is based on this talk. And I'm pretty sure if you got this drug from Cole, that's the reason as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like I said before, I mean, and I don't have to tell you, especially men my age in their 50s, blood pressure is an issue. It's something which a lot of men that are over the age of 50 are going to have to be dealing with anyway. And so from where I'm sitting, adding something which is going to help with BP, and by the way, may help you grow some of your hair back, seems like a no-brainer.
And just, there's a guy in the chat room talking about 0.5 versus 5 milligrams. You're on 0.5 milligrams, right? Or you're on
I'm not. I'm on 5 milligrams.
You're on a full 5.
The dosage normally given to deal with hypertension is 20 milligrams daily. That's the standard dose for dealing with hypertension. Now, typically, they don't give minoxidil as a first drug for hypertension. There are other antihypertensives that they give before they give minoxidil, precisely because of the side effects.
Right.
But if the side effect is something that you want, and not only that, I'm taking 1/4 of what would be a therapeutic dose for blood pressure. Hey. And the studies on it basically show that the side effects, like you said, water retention or heart arrhythmia, those side effects they only hit for people in the 5 milligram range. I think it was high. It was about 10 or 15%, but I mean, still 85% of people didn't get any of those. And I honestly don't know that those subjects were filtered out for people who had normal blood pressure.
Right.
So,
just so you know, I have what's known as white coat high blood pressure. So if I'm sitting at the doctor's office, my blood pressure it's not necessarily high. It's what is it called? Not moderate. It's like pre-high blood pressure. It's like, there's a term for it.
So like 120 over 80, 130, 140?
Yeah, shit like that. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
But I have a blood pressure cuff.
Diastolic.
Yeah, and my blood pressure is perfect at home. So I brought the cuff in to the doctor's office to make sure that it was calibrated correctly, that it was matching his, and I had the same blood pressure on both cuffs. So for whatever reason, and I don't feel any anxiety, but it could just be taking the walk, going from the chair to his office, them taking the blood pressure right away. Maybe my arm's not being raised properly, or maybe there is some hidden underlying anxiety when I go to a doctor's office. I usually have a little high blood pressure at the doctor's office, which is not uncommon.
See, for me, it's difficult to say. I know for a fact that my exercise regimen hasn't really been the same since I moved back to New York because, I mean, I didn't rejoin a gym when I came back, and obviously with COVID, getting in a gym is impossible. I have been trying to get back into the run and the bike, but I did put on a little bit of weight also, so it doesn't surprise me that these things are happening. I've got it in my family. My dad had heart disease, my mom had heart disease, so I'm not surprised that this is starting to happen, especially given my age. And so I'm like, well, I could take one of these ACE inhibitors or one of these other types of, one of these other antihypertensives. But I'm like, well, shit, let me try this.
No, I think, again, I'm not a doctor. I have to say that for people who are listening, but I think that was a really good move. And we're going to take another call in a second, but I do believe that if you're seeing such early growth and changes in your donor and your beard, it probably has to do with the minoxidil.
That makes sense. Because it's only been about 2 months for the, for the exosome / fat cell / CRP and all the rest of it. I'm hoping that's the case because, again, I haven't had a hair transplant, but I do know that you have to be very patient when post-procedure to seeing results, and you can't lose faith. You got to kind of hang in there and give things a chance to work. So.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, I'm glad you sound good even during I can't imagine, you can't imagine me being in LA. It's horrible. I can't imagine being in New York, especially since it's cold.
Yeah, I
too,
do. Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing that scares me is that business about the ambulances. That really, you talk about having a nurse on retainer. If I were you, I'd have a freaking nurse on retainer. I'd have a surgeon on retainer. I'd have a fucking hospital on retainer.
Hold on. Carmela, check this out. Just kidding. But imagine that. Imagine if some lady just walked out, some Jamaican lady.
Yeah. Oh no! Man, you got me thinking about that crazy anti-vaxxer lady on the news.
Oh my God!
Talking about exercising your demons and shit like that.
Yeah. Well, dude, listen,
all right, guys,
we're gonna go. Thank you so much. Happy New Year, Morty. It's great to hear from you.
Good hearing from you again.
Easy, fellas. Later.
All right, take care.
Andrew Zarian, shalom. We could not get the show on GFQ because I was unable to get the link in order to put into the thing that Suncast made before the show. But next time we'll be live on GFQ. Don't worry about it. Hold on.
Don't worry about it.
I'm mentally ill. Who said you're mentally ill?
Who said?
Oh, Phyllis is bothering me. He's pulling an old school Joe from Staten Island.
Oh, I got it.
Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi, Spencer. How's it? It's Topstar here from Mildenhall in the UK.
Topstar, how are you, man?
Topstar.
I'm fine. I'm glad to start to speak to you, and I hope you're all right, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too. I'm pretty good. I don't know about Joe, though.
I'm okay.
Oh, you look
Can't
right.
complain.
So what's happening?
What's going on?
So I just wanted to talk about my experience in India.
All right.
Where'd you go? Which clinic?
I went to Dr. Barty, Darling Buds.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
How'd it go?
Let's hear
I went in. I'm 11 months now. So I'm 11 months, and I'm over the moon with the results.
Really?
Yeah,
Very good.
I'm very. I think I sent you a picture a couple of months ago. That was 7 months to Joe.
All right, let the listeners know, what was your situation? Was this a repair surgery? Was this your first surgery?
No, it was my first surgery. I'm actually the same age as you, a couple of months younger, 55, as you, Spencer.
Okay.
I'm 55. So the problem was I've always had a slightly high hairline. And so I've always been a bit self-conscious about that. So
Sure.
I just wanted to get that my face framed. I've got a slight bald spot on the back as well, but it's not too bad. But my main purpose was just to get the face framed because I went sort of bald on the crown, and I've got that quite thick hair in the front.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Sure.
Yep.
So you just wanted to bring your hairline. You wanted to bring your hairline down.
Yeah, that's
Frame your
basically
face.
what I wanted to do. And also, the other thing was, I'm not a rich guy, so I wanted to make an experiment out of doing it at the lowest possible cost whatsoever. I'll tell you a little story about how I started 5 years ago. This is how bad it was, my situation, not hair-wise. I mean, the recession was... I had a double widow's peak, so I had the sort of... wasn't receding too bad on the temple area, but, in the middle, where the widow's peak would have been.
Mm-hmm.
It was. So I had a sort of widow's peak above each eye, and there was like a W.
Wow.
So it's sort of, and I used to have a double crown on the back as well, but because that sort of went bald, you can't see any swirls. So I had two swirls on the back and two widow's peaks on the front.
Well, so did you ask him to recreate those two widow's peaks? Probably not.
No, they're still there.
Oh, they
they're
are?
still strong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're strong.
Oh, okay.
So what it was, about 5 years ago, I sent off for all the equipment to some place in San Francisco. I got the punches. I know Joe was. I didn't phone up or anything, surgeries saying what punch do you use and all that. I just went online and I bought all the punches. I bought all the needles and all that. So I was going to do it myself.
Hold on for a second.
You're one of those.
So you were actually going to do a DIY hair transplant?
Yeah, I had no money. I was so I was going to do it myself, and I actually I had a microscope attached to the computer. Okay, I got one of these $50 microscopes. Sort of. So I had it on the back. I had all the numbing cream. I shaved the back area, just a little piece, because we're going to do little bits at a time. And I had it all ready. And the problem was the microscope was sort of, because it was attached to the desk, and I had it on the back of my head, pointing at the back of my head. So I could see the screen, but it's all in reverse.
Right.
So you're trying to get the punch in, but it's all, you're all in reverse. You move to the left.
Are you telling me you actually made an incision? You started the process?
Yeah. I made
Hold on, Andrew Zarian, are you listening to this? Because, Andrew, you think you're insane about this stuff? Listen to this guy. Go ahead.
Yes, so I made the incision, and the problem is my skin's really, it's like marshmallow. I've got a very pale skin.
Okay.
White, and it's like marshmallow. So I was making this incision, because I've always had to do everything myself, basically out of necessity, because I'm a farmer. I was a farmer in South Africa. I was an avocado farmer. Anyway, I made the incision, and I got the punch in, and I sort of got one out, and I put it in the Petri dish, in the saline and all that, but it was all wrecked. It was all sort of just like butchered.
Yeah.
It was obviously transected, but it was just bits and pieces. I don't know if I got it out right.
Yeah, that's why you have to go to a doctor.
Probably not.
Anyway, I tried a couple more, and I just felt even a petit mal. It's a medical term for feeling really nauseous and just my head was spinning. I felt terrible. Just dizzy, and I felt ill. So I thought, bugger this, I can't. There's no way I can go through with this. And it was quite painful because I just had numbing cream. So
anyway, that's not going to do anything.
If you weren't a regular on the program, if you weren't in the chat room, I would say that I would think that this was some sort of a prank call.
No.
But I know you're telling the truth, and it's wild to me. And this is no judgment. This, I think, is an important call because it speaks to how desperate we all are when it comes to trying to remedy or do something about our hair loss. That you
100%.
would take the time to try to do your research, become as informed as possible on the procedure, buy your own equipment to perform a hair transplant on yourself. That's amazing.
$380 on all the kit.
Holy cow.
How much? $380?
The
truth is, that's all a doctor needs to start.
Yeah, that's basically all you need.
That's all someone needs just to start their own clinic. $380.
$380
in a room.
Yeah.
Well, that's something I actually want to do. I want to start my own clinic, or teaching people how to do it. because I was a medic in the army. I was in Angola because when I spoke to Joe about living in Mildenhall, U.S. Air Force Base, I'm not actually in the U.S. Air Force, but I was in the South African Army, and I was in Angola, and I had buddies blown up. I'm actually booked off work or booked off sick now. I had PTSD, and anyway, I'm not going to go on about this opera.
I do think it's pretty fascinating that I'm hearing this story and learning more about you. But I do think that it speaks to how desperate we all are, and everyone will go to different lengths to try to do something. And while that seems extreme, I also think it's extreme for these guys to buy these clandestine, these gray market products through these group buys from people who they have no idea what the fuck they're getting, mixing it themselves and putting stuff on their scalps, in some cases even ingesting stuff from stuff, buying stuff on the internet. That just shows how desperate we all are.
Well, anyway, so I saved up a couple more years, and I went to India, my first time there, and it was wonderful. I got met in Chandigarh by Dr. Bharti's driver, and I actually stayed, because I took a 3-month sabbatical to go to India. I was going to stay there for 3 months. So I got there, and I went to the clinic. Well, it was quite a freak out, because when I first got there, I booked a hotel it was $7 a night. It was one of these cheap hotels. It looked lovely on the internet.
Yeah.
So I booked that. But when I got there, they said, "Oh no, you can't stay here. You're a foreigner." Because there's so many hotels there. If you're foreign, you're not allowed to stay there. Because when you get to the hotels, you got to get a police form. They got to fill in this form and all this rigmarole. And so I had to go to this other hotel, which I wasn't prepared for. And it was I wasn't happy with that. So I was really paranoid because I suffered from all this.
So what was wrong with what was wrong with the second hotel?
Well, I hadn't booked it. Didn't know about it. It's actually called the First Hotel in Chandigarh. And they always give you, like, the worst room, and these guys look dodgy, So, and not being there, being a newcomer to the country, I was very sort of wary. What's going on? Are they trying to rip me off? So I thought it was a scam. Because I've never been there, and I didn't trust anything. Because, as I say, I've been thanks to you guys, because I've been researching this for years and checking it out. So I was prepared for the worst. But anyway, they're actually fine. It was all fine. And anyway, then I said, no, but it's too noisy, because the problem is the hotels there, they've always got weddings and discos, so it's like loud banging music and all this.
This is a great story. So you got to the hotel. You finally got a place to stay. And
well, actually, what happened? I told. Sorry to interrupt. I told Dr. Bharti's. She's a very nice girl. I actually quite sort of fell for her. Shalini. She's their sort of general.
So wait a minute. So you went to India. You had a horrible hotel, but you had a great hair transplant, and you fell in love. That's a great story.
No, I didn't fall in love, but what I'm saying is I actually stayed with Dr. Bharti for 3 days. I actually went up with him to because he's a colonel. You know about that?
Yeah.
He was in the military, so we had a lot in common. We actually both went to St. John's boarding schools as youngsters.
Oh wow!
And he loved. We had so much in common, and I stayed 3 days, the whole weekend with him in his villa. He's got a villa up on the foothills of the Himalayas, and we really became, we really hit it off,
And now you guys are lovers.
No, no, we're all Wait, no.
So I'm calling to announce my wedding.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
You know,
We're just teasing you. Yeah.
I know. But I went back on the Tuesday, and I had my operation, and it was only 1,200 grafts. It was only 1,200 grafts, and I mean the place is lovely. It's you know, you don't have to open a door. Doors get open for you. It's absolutely spotless. It runs like clockwork.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened though was they give you an ECG test before.
Okay.
And what happened was I was on the table and all my grafts had been taken out. They were all in the fridge. Okay. And then Dr. Barty came in and he was freaking out. He said, I can't carry on. No, you're gonna die and all this, because what happened? My heart rate had gone down to 14 beats per minute or something like that, and he didn't know. He was so. But what I'm saying is, you're in really good hands. But because it was an unforeseen complication in the operation.
Sure.
So he didn't want to. He said. He said, your heart, you need to see a cardiac surgeon straight away and all this type of thing, because my ECG said I had a heart block. And anyway, and then when I said, well...
So you're saying that not only did you have a great hair transplant, the guy saved your life?
No. I still don't know what the problem was, because I said, well, look, the grafts, my grafts are out my head, I need them in,
Right.
So he sort of reluctantly, when he injected me with the lidocaine, my heart was pumping and I felt really weird,
Yeah, it's probably mixed with adrenaline as well.
Yeah, it had all that in it. So I felt I didn't feel sick, but I felt quite strange. But then I was for about 10 minutes, and then after that I felt fine. I had no pain. I'm not squeamish about too squeamish, but what happened then was...
poor Dr. Body aged like 10 years during your procedure.
Yeah, he did. And what happened then was I was all cool, and then but the problem was, so I had all my operation, it was all fine, and the grafts healed fine, and I'm over the moon with the results. But what these grafts, the placement, because I've got wavy hair, and the wave, now that it's 11 months, the thickness of it matches the native hair perfectly. The wave, it's got the perfect wave. You wouldn't even know it was, the lady who did it is really, really top notch. I can recommend them. And I only paid, was like a buck a graft, basically, £1,500.
Yeah.
I paid for that. And
look, if you're willing to travel to India and you find the right physician, which you did, then it's a hell of a lot less expensive in general.
Yeah. I mean, this was, but it cost me in the end, because what happened, I then spent 2 weeks, I just want to say how strong these grafts are. So now he said, the day I went in to have it cleaned up, the next day he said, you must go to a cardiac surgeon. So again, I'm a bit paranoid. So I said, well, I'll leave it till I get back to the UK and to see my own doctor. So I'm worrying about this now. So I'm stressing about, because I started reading on the...
I'm sure you could have found some cardiac guy with a shingle saying, hearts are us or something.
I don't know. There's plenty.
Hearts are us.
But what I wanted to get out of Chandigarh, because it's very cold up there. and I wanted to go to Goa. Have you heard of Goa?
I have.
Yes.
I have not, or maybe I have, but I don't remember.
Well, that's the main tourist part of India. The beaches, all those tropical beaches and the dry goods and all this type of stuff. So I wanted to get down, and I hadn't seen any other Europeans in Chandigarh in 3 weeks. So, I was sort of.
So.
And it's really busy there, and it's quite hectic,
Well, here's the thing. I want to hear the rest of the story, but we're going to take some more phone calls. So tell us. So basically, your end game was you started to do a hair transplant yourself. You chose not to do that. You found out your body, and you were able to save a lot of money, have a relatively good experience, except you almost died, but you came back to life.
No, I didn't, because when I got back to my own doctor, they said I'm fine.
It could have been anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what it was, but so for 6 months I'd been. Just one other thing, I went to go. Then the day I was 2 days before I was supposed to return on Virgin Atlantic, they cancelled it and said lockdown. You can't go anywhere.
Really?
I got stuck back in India for another 2 months. I was stuck in India.
This is an unbelievable story.
So I was stressing again.
God.
Yeah, no, I got stuck there for 2 months. I lost my flat. I became homeless. So I was stressing. When I got back to the UK, I was homeless because I lost my flat over that 2 months. So then I was stressing about that. And then,
oh my God.
Luckily, so the grafts were holding up. They weren't, they were still growing. And I was stressing, and then they found me, they put me in a hotel. Now then they found me this, the government.
Okay.
They said everybody on the streets has got to be put in a hotel because of COVID, Can't have anybody on the street. So
you weren't just saying that you were homeless, like you didn't have a place, you lost your apartment, you had to sleep at a friend's place. You were actually sleeping on the street.
No, well, I used to stay with this old boy in a cabin. He's got a big 3-acre spread. And I was staying in a cabin there. I used to live there for 5 years. And he went into a retirement home, leaving this big place empty. So I went back there, and I was staying in this, the cabin got locked up, but I was staying in a big tent in the back garden. So some neighbor called the cops, and they came and bloody jumped over the wall and said, and I convinced them. They didn't arrest me or anything, but they put me in, they phoned up the council, and the council then put me up in the hotel for 4 months till August, and they found me a nice bungalow. So I'm there now, but a week after I moved into the bungalow, which was in August, I was at another guy's house getting some dry goods, and this nut job held a knife to my throat. He didn't like my politics or something, because I'm from South Africa, and he had this knife to my throat.
Now, when you say dry goods, are you talking about dry goods like illegal drug dry goods?
Yeah, the dry goods, the bales of dry goods.
Yeah.
Oh,
the secret herb.
And this guy, he absolutely pulverized me. He beat me. He must have hit me 20 times on the back of the head. I was luckily my transplants didn't get touched, and he was just hitting me on the side of the head. I was fine. I had a few bumps, but no broken jaw or nose.
Did you get your dry goods though?
Yeah, I did.
So you got the dry goods and your transplants intact.
So you got your dry goods and you look good with good hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
priorities are intact.
Well, when I went to Chandigarh, I said to Dr. Bart, he said, have you had anything to drink? Because the problem was I was a heavy bleeder. When I had the operation, I was bleeding all over the place, and the grafts were popping. He said he really struggled with it. The result's so good for how much he struggled with it. It just shows you how good they were. because I was such a difficult case. Because when I was staying with him, he said, "Oh, it's all straightforward and it's all routine," but not when it came to me. It's always like,
not in my case.
No.
If this is routine, I want off this ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I stayed with him on the weekend, he said, "Oh, have a beer," you know, and I was drinking these Kingfisher beers, and because he only says you must stop alcohol 2 or 3 days before, you know, not 2 weeks. And I was saying, "Are you sure about that? You sure about that? You know, because I usually bleed a lot." And he said, "No, have a beer." And I said, "Well, I prefer the dry goods, you know, but because when I was in Chandigarh, I was looking at big vacant plot right in the city centre of Chandigarh. There's a big vacant plot, and I thought that looks like a good place to guerrilla grow weed. And I got closer, and the place is covered in this stuff.
Really?
Just grow in there naturally. But anyway, the grafts don't mind, because I got down to Goa. I was right on the gear, you know, and I was drinking 2 pints of beer every day. I was hitting the weed constantly, you know, so on and off. When I came back to the UK, I couldn't get any, but I did after a while. So the grafts don't mind booze, they don't mind weed, they don't mind stress. If you have a good job done, they'll grow.
That's the moral of the story. If you go to a good doctor who places those grafts correctly and doesn't damage the grafts, you can do anything.
Yeah, you can do anything.
Says, I thought this story was going to end with Dr. Bhatti leaping off of a building to end it.
Yeah, no. What happened?
My God.
The only thing is, I wasn't on any drugs. He gave. Well, I'll tell you a little story. I don't want to keep you if you want to get rid of me, but the little story about
real brief.
finasteride. I was on finasteride about 15 years ago for 3 years, but I had terrible side effects. It got so bad. I was spewing pus. Like sometimes when I'd ejaculate, there was pus in it.
What?
And bits. Yeah.
Now you're just fucking with us.
I think it's safe to say that was not a side effect from finasteride. Going on a limb, but I think I can say that.
I had all the tests, and the doctor says I'm fine. So I don't know what all that's about, but...
well, obviously you weren't if you had pus coming out of your junk.
Let me tell you something. If you have pus coming out of your cock, there's a problem.
No. In the semen, when you ejaculate. But that was about 15
I'm pretty
years
sure that's
ago.
where it comes from, though. I mean,
I thought that's where it came from. Yeah. Okay. Was this when you were in South Africa or after you moved to the UK?
No, I left South Africa 30 years ago. I left there 30 years ago.
Well,
my mother's actually from British Columbia, Nelson, BC. Yeah, she's Canadian. My mum, my dad passed away. Actually, I'd love to chat to you guys more because, like you two, my dad was also older. He was also in the Second World War.
Oh wow!
He was in the British Army. You know, but so you know, I'll chat to you guys about that another time.
Absolutely.
But just about these grafts.
Please call back next week.
Well, yeah.
Please,
maybe,
no, seriously.
All right, Topstar, listen, thank you. Here's the good news. I'm so glad you had a great result. And the fact that you never miss a show, even when you were homeless, really speaks to your
I was only homeless for
your passion for this.
Luckily, I've got family here, so I wasn't totally homeless. You know, I was sort of semi-homeless.
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
If you have to sleep in the street for any amount of time, that's homeless. That's homeless enough for me. So, but your story is probably how can I say this? The wildest story I've heard on this show.
Well, I got plenty of wild stories, plenty of those.
I can imagine, man.
Somehow I believe that. Thanks for calling in, buddy.
All right,
we really appreciate your support and your call today. So thanks so much.
And I'm really glad you had a good result.
Yeah, Yeah, thanks for
All right.
taking my call, and yeah, just hi to Mr. Orlandos there. I know he's listening.
He is.
He's my buddy
Yeah.
here in the UK.
Awesome,
Good
man.
luck with Mr. Orlandos, because he's going for his next hair transplant. I've been trying to talk him out of it, but he's adamant he's going for it.
Well, he's a happy guy, so I understand.
Yeah. All right, dude. We'll talk to you. Take care.
Okay.
Take care,
See you
Topstar.
later, guys.
See ya.
Cheers.
Phone number is 888-659-3727. Now,
wow.
I believe that most of the story was true. I'm just not sure about the pus coming out of his cock.
That part, that's... Got to question that. Got to question that. Like, not that it actually happened, but it being due to... Papa, he said it was when he ejaculated. It's like, that just makes no sense.
And you know that last line that I just said, pus and C, it's going to be all over the Board of Governors email.
I thought you were going to say TikTok, but okay.
That would be funny as shit.
I didn't even know how to respond to that at first. But
well,
that's
listen,
the
guy has been through a lot.
Like the arrival to India story. Okay, I get it. I get it. Like, you can't stay in some places, or they don't want foreigners in some places. You know, okay, fine. Had to go to a different hotel. Completely believable. But then, blink of an eye, he's homeless for 2 months in India because of the lockdown.
Well, the fact that he was locked down, he lost his apartment, he lost his flat in the UK, and then he comes back and he's homeless. And that was after all the other craziness of the story.
Yeah, he was homeless in India. Then he was homeless back home in the UK.
Fucking, I don't know if he was homeless in India.
I thought he said he had to. He had to stay for 2 months in India because of lockdown.
Yeah, but I don't think he was homeless in India. I think maybe he stayed in a hotel or whatever.
His flight to the UK was canceled the day before he was supposed to leave.
2 days before
he was stuck in India.
He was stuck in India, but when he lost his apartment in the UK. So when he got back to the UK, that's when he became homeless.
Oh, I thought because he was stuck for two months in India, that's why he lost his apartment. We'll rerun the tape.
That's exactly what I just. Right. That's exactly what I just said.
It is not. It is not what you just said. It is what I just said.
It's exactly what I just said.
You're just trying to take credit. No, I don't believe it.
Guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. Let's see who the F this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, I called a couple years ago and just thinking about getting another transplant. So it's only one place I would, check in and as far as my resources go.
All right. What's your name, first of all? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Mike, and I'm from Kansas City.
Hello, Mike.
And
thank you for calling.
Hello. Yes, thank you. And I had a transplant with Dr. Yates. He's in Chicago now, but when he was working in Kansas City. And then the second one was with Bosley, again with Dr. Duncan Summers, I believe it is.
So you went to Bosley both times. You went to Bosley both times, and you had Yates as your surgeon when you were at Bosley.
Yes, the first time, and then the second time was someone else.
Right.
Did he wear one of his exquisite suits when he came in to meet you? That man is the best dressed doctor in the fucking world. Like, I've never seen anyone dressed like this guy.
I know, and he's pretty charismatic as well. I mean, I felt kind of good, going there like, wow, okay, yeah, he kind of has a good warmth about him, so.
Well, when I met him in Chicago 5 years ago, he was dressed to the nines, and he had a smile that would not leave his face the entire time we were talking.
I'm pretty sure that Joe developed a man crush at that time because I have.
Oh yeah.
Every time someone brings up Yates, this guy just starts to blush.
Yep. We've talked.
He's a very handsome man. I get it. Go ahead, guys.
Got it. Got it.
he's like, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Well, at that time, I was active duty in the Army, so that was kind of before Obama changed the rules, and it was like kind of like no ass, no tail. So it's kind of, you're not allowed to see that persuasion back then. So, yep. So anyway, so the reason why I'm reaching out, so I'm doing a little research, and of course I'm on the YouTube page and everything, and the thing is as far as PRP goes, I'm seeing the pros, but I cannot find for the life of me the cons. And all the research
it's easy.
I'm doing, I think it's. Mm-hmm.
No. Sorry to interrupt. But it's the cons out. Okay, so the thing about PRP is you got to understand one general rule that is true for every PRP procedure out there. There's no standard. If any two clinics do it the same, it's because one clinic learned from the other, and they're always going to have their own take, their own variation on what they learned. So right now in the industry, PRP is not only unregulated, there's no standard. Everyone's doing it different. Some people are adding A-cell to the mix. Some people are adding exosomes to the mix. Some people are, doing different concentrations of platelets, or different cc's of like it's different machines for the centrifuge, and some are open systems, some are closed systems. So everyone's just focused on talking about how great their PRP is, and how many visits you need to have, and all that. It's all bullshit. It's all BS. It doesn't matter. What matters is very, very few things matter in this. One is you want a closed system for the centrifuge and how they extract the PRP from your blood. You want a closed system, which means that at no point from the time that your blood has been extracted to the time that the end product, the PRP, is injected into your scalp, is it ever exposed to oxygen, to air. Because once it's exposed to air, then it starts to break down. And you don't want that. So that's one of the things that you do want to look out for. But in general, like the potential downsides with PRP are just like with any other procedure, any other medical treatment, any other surgical treatment, anything that causes a difference to the growth cycle of your hair. And keep in mind that PRP and any other treatments, they're not making new hair grow. They're making old hair grow better. So any hair loss you have, those hairs are miniaturized, most likely to the point where, like, when it looks like you're bald, you're not actually technically bald. It's just all the hairs that make a visible difference are so small they no longer make a visible difference. They eventually will disappear with time. But by the time it looks like you're bald, you're not actually bald. You just can't see what's there because it's so short. So any medical treatment that you're taking, be it Propecia, be it minoxidil, be it exosomes, be it anything, all it's doing is restoring strength to those hairs and lengthening the anagen phase of growth so that it will grow long enough and strong enough for you to actually see the hair. That's what it's doing. So anything that does that alters the growth cycle of your hair, has the potential to cause a telogen effluvium or a big shed of hair that you can still visibly account for. And usually you'll recover from something, from a big shed. But do you always recover 100%? Like, does every hair that was shed always come back on a 1-to-1 ratio? Not always. So you could wind up looking thinner a year later as opposed to fuller with PRP or anything. So that's the downside.
Well, here in a nutshell, all PRP is not created equal. That's something that people have to understand. The way that it's being marketed and sold, it has become the biggest money grab in aesthetics, period, not just in hair. Most people have no idea what they are re-injecting into your scalp, meaning while it is autologous, it is all coming from your body. So you're not getting anything foreign injected into your scalp. They don't even know in general if it's actually platelet-rich plasma they've created. It could be platelet-rich plasma. It could be platelet-neutral plasma, if that's even a term, but somewhere in between. Currently there are a couple of ways to decipher what your platelets are at the time of sitting, at bedside, so to speak. But a lot of doctors, they haven't really gone across the board of like how many platelets per whatever that measurement is do people need, platelets, do people need to actually grow hair? And so there's a lot of debate, and there's a lot of people who are just making all kinds of false claims. Here's what I know about PRP. If it's done correctly, it works. You have about a 50-50 chance in most people's practices of it working for you because most people need a specific dose for it to work for them. If they're lucky, it works. If they're unlucky, it doesn't work. In some people's practices, I'm noticing there's a higher percentage of people getting more consistent results. Maybe it's 70%, which is still pretty good. But the way that it's being sold in med spas and even in hair transplant surgeons' offices is this is like, regenerative medicine. This is the next greatest thing. This is better than finasteride or minoxidil or as good. It's been proven to increase graft growth after a procedure, all this stuff. All of that is true, but it may not be true in that office because they're just taking information that is being gleaned from all these different studies. They're being sold equipment from different manufacturers. They're being sold different kits. Each kit produces PRP differently. And there's also something that no one really understands. When PRP is being produced after your blood is drawn, and they're basically baking the cake, there could be user error in that if things aren't measured exactly. And it depends on the person you have putting the PRP essentially together that day. Is the staff member who's doing this, not just drawing the blood, but actually making the PRP, are they on their game? Are they watching every nuance of the procedure to make sure that the blood counts are right? Well, you have no idea. But here's the good news. There is equipment that's already developed and that is being developed, and it will soon probably be out there in the public domain in a bigger way that's going to solve a lot of these problems and create a much easier prospect to find the proper dose needed for each individual patient. And we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about that soon. It doesn't mean that if people use that equipment, that PRP is going to work for you, but at least you have a fighting chance of knowing that you're getting real PRP.
And do you all have perhaps some doctors that you guys would recommend for this particular procedure?
All I can know is from my personal experience, and that's the experience from people in my personal life who've had PRP done by different doctors. There's a guy by the name he's a PhD. He's down in Sarasota, Florida. His name is Joe Greco. He's been on the cutting edge of studying this for a very long time. He's had some very, very good results over the years, pretty consistent. I know someone who went to him for a decade and did very well, and then things started to wane. There's, a couple of people here in Los Angeles. I know Dr. Babak from the Armani Clinic charges a lot for what he offers, but there have been people that I know who've gotten results. I also know that Alan Bauman in Boca Raton, Florida, has the right equipment where he could actually count platelets at bedside, which I think is important. Doesn't mean that it's going to work for you, but it means at least he's taking the right measurements. And as far as other IHRS members, I think Jerry Cooley has been getting really good results. Joe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
I
had it with him myself, and it helped me a little bit.
Oh, you know what? Nussbaum Rose. They actually did a study on all of the different, or many of the different kits that are out there. And they were the one, and Paul Rose was the one who discovered that the majority of kits aren't actually producing PRP.
Right.
And so he was able to choose which kits actually did by taking the proper measurements. So I would certainly consider them as well.
I got one quote, and it was $1,000 per session. Does that sound about right, or is that on the low end? Or
that's on the low end.
It is.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that it's going to be bad. Who is it from?
But it also depends on how many sessions are required in a 6 month to 12 month period.
They said every quarter, so every few months. $1,000 a pop.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. That schedule only because I could be wrong. Like, I'm not a doctor, but my own experience with clinics that I do know offer a solid solution, it's once or twice a year. And one provider, or actually Dr. Cooley, he recommends once in the first year, and just evaluate as time goes on. Like, if you go to his website, you can see that he's got some results in his gallery where one result, he shows a before and after, and the after is 3 photos, before, and then 1 year later, and then 4 years later, and he retained, like, the 1 year photo showed a really nice improvement. It was one treatment. 4 years later, there was still evidence, the photo evidence that it was better after 4 years than before the only treatment he ever had. He maintained probably 50% of the hair that he gained. So 4 times in a year, I'm not going to say it's unnecessary, but I've not seen any clinics that I respect in this space require it 4 times a year. So it's still $4,000 in 1 year.
Yes. And have you heard of women using PRP?
Yes.
Have you heard of women using
absolutely.
PRP?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I've known women who've had long-term success with PRP, and then it began to wane, and then it's gotten better. And I also think it depends on the day that the PRP is being provided. I think that's why it's really important, and not a lot of people are doing this, to test the person's platelet levels that day to know exactly how they have to adjust the serum to the right platelet count. A lot of people just say, okay, we've been doing this much for this person for these many years. Well, what happens if they had a lot to drink that day? Or what happens if their platelets were lower than normal or higher than normal? Too many platelets are not good either. So the key now is, and I think this is going to be the future of PRP, is really being able to precisely measure every aspect of the PRP. And then as more people do that, there's going to be a recognized dosage range that's going to work for most people. But that could take a couple of years before that happens. But they're working on that now. But PRP can work. There's no doubt about it. I would say, to be fair, you got a 50-50 shot.
Okay. And where would I go to see your list of preferred doctors?
Well, again, you can go to iahrs.org, but I would tell you this, that these are all doctors who have, passed a certain criteria to as far as surgical skill and, what they're providing people surgically. I can't vouch for for very few people's PRP. All I can tell you is what we've told you on the program is the people that I know of is Joe Greco down in Florida, who's not a physician but a PhD, a guy who studied this for many years, but he's also a PA, so he's able to inject and perform parts of surgery and stuff like that. There is, I would say, Paul Rose and Bernie Nussbaum and Aaron Nussbaum in Florida. There's Alan Bauman. There is Jerry Cooley. I also know that, Morty just went to see John Cole down in Atlanta. So, these are the guys that I know that have seem to have results on a consistent basis. I can't vouch for anybody else's results.
Well, even if I want to get another hair transplant, I just kind of wanted to know, you all's, website where I can go and whoever's on your team, I'm good with.
Well, you can go to two. You can go to mine, which is the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons, where it's a society where we really try to create a platform for people to at least have a fighting chance, and to find doctors who are doing state-of-the-art standards, surgery to state-of-the-art standards. And then there's Joe's website, which is hairtransplantmentor.com. He gets a lot more intimate, no pun intended, with the physicians and their practices. He didn't create a society, but he has more of a, what would you call it, Joe?
I don't know. Like it's hard for me to classify. It's just it's a way to answer the question. I always get, who do you like? Like, who do you think I should go to? I don't think anyone should go to any clinic, but if you're going to, these are the clinics that I feel meet a higher standard based on my experience.
Yeah, based on his experience.
That's the only way I can.
But they're all IHS members. So, I mean, those are the two places to go. So it's hairtransplantmentor.com and IAHRS.org, and you'll have a fighting chance.
Okay, well, thank you so much, gentlemen, and I'll be tuned in with the show, once a week again, since I'm back in the mix. So, and I appreciate this platform, and thank you for taking my question.
Well,
Happy New Year.
We appreciate your call, man. Happy New Year. Take care.
Yep.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Do you want to take one more call, Joe?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, we got a late start.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hey, guys. This is Alex from San Diego. It's been a while. How you guys doing?
Alex, we are
Hey,
good.
Alex. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing good right now, just dealing with the whole pandemic situation, though, but everything is going good. I just had a quick question. I know you guys want to go and stuff.
Take your time.
It's regarding, long-term finasterides. I've been on it for a very long time. I don't know, 13 years now. So I called in a while ago, and I said I was about to move it to halves and just play with it a little bit more. And I was like, something with this whole pandemic situation, I'm just going to leave it as it is right now. I don't want something crazy to happen.
Yeah.
So, and I'm doing pretty good. So everything is consistent. I'm fine with it right now. No complaint. But I was just thinking, is there any long terms, I don't know, people that get any kind of crazy side effects or something, or I don't know.
There's no evidence that there is, and we have no idea. I've been on it since 1994. So,
okay.
I'm still here.
Since 2002? Yeah, 2002.
Yeah. So I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm on it basically my entire adult life.
Okay.
Who knows what's happening to me? I notice changes in my body and things that are happening, but I'm also 55 years old. But I have that I'm aware of, I have no sexual changes that I'm currently aware of, or maybe I just don't give a shit anymore. And I feel, it's been only a benefit to my life. But I don't know. I can have some bizarre form of, God forbid, cancer. And that could be, that's because he was on finasteride or Propecia or Proscar for 30 years. But I highly doubt that. I mean, who knows? Listen, everything in life is a risk. You decide to walk outside your door, get in your car, you're risking your life.
Yeah.
So
Crazy.
any medication that you're put on or take for the long term, you're risking your health. You're trying to save your health, but you're also putting yourself at risk. And I think that's an important point for people to understand. I mean, has this benefited your life?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it has a lot. Like everything. It's a magic drug for sure. I was just wondering, if there was anything long term or something, you know, like I've been on it for a while, everything is, you know, it has its ups and I had like some shed here and there though, but
yeah, that happens. Well, let's put it this way. I would say that there are people who have been on it longer than me, guys who are treated for benign prostate hyperplasia, but the drug didn't come out until 1992. So I got on it pretty quickly as soon as I read an article in the New York Times, and that was 3 years before it was approved as Propecia as a 1 milligram dose. I initially started on 5 milligrams a day. So, you know, all I can tell you is that I may be one of the guys who've been on it the longest for hair loss in the country. There are several. There are a few others that I'm aware of. That I became aware of online. But I can't tell you, man. There's been nothing reported. That's all I can say.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, that's all I was just saying. And that, cause I'm cutting it 1/3 and everything is going good. I called the last time I called you guys, it was just more that I was going to, you know, up it up a little bit more. Now I'm thinking maybe I should just go to the 1/4 or cut it in quarters or something now, just health reasons, getting older, you know. 47. So yeah.
But why even fuck with it? If your hair is stable.
No, yeah, everything is good. I was just thinking, the amount of dose. Like everyone's taking a quarter right now. That seems to be like the
Who's everyone?
Well, the prescribing people, everyone, you know, like.
I mean, a quarter of Propecia.
I think that if you're happy with a third, like how often are you taking a third of a dose? You taking it 3 times a week?
Every day.
So my question is, it's a third of a Propecia dose, or it's a third of a 5 milligram Proscar dose?
5 milligram, cutting it to 3s.
Yeah. I mean, you haven't had any adverse effects that you know of?
No, nothing. That's what I was thinking. Like, I've been on that for 2 years now. Everything is good, but I just don't know from like going from the quarters and jumping it there is going to be like, okay, well, now you're putting a little more risk on there. Yeah. You know, so maybe I should just, yeah.
How old are you?
47.
Okay. And what's your biggest fear?
I don't know, just to, I guess health-wise, I guess, you know, putting more, just health-wise, I guess. You know, I don't know if that's if it's okay. Then I'll just write it on.
Well,
and just
we
keep
don't know. We don't know if it's okay, and we're both not physicians. But I guess the point is, this is something you've been putting into your body for 13 years, by your choice, and you're talking about having a good experience. I understand, you know, worry and being concerned about things, but I think there comes a point where if you've been on something for a long period of time and you've had no concerns. The only concerns, to create worry about something that has not happened yet, based on information that doesn't exist,
right,
is really just harming you're causing yourself stress, anxiety, and essentially harm for no reason. Now, if you were thinking, you know what, I'd rather not be on medication, like women get their breast implants removed or whatever. I'd rather not be on medication anymore. That kind of makes sense to me. But just since, I don't think there's going to be such a difference between a quarter of a dose to a third of your dose health-wise. Now, again, I'm not a doctor, but it doesn't make much sense to me. I don't know, Joe, what do you think?
No, I was thinking the exact same thing. It's like, what is the actual milligram difference between a third of a tablet and a quarter of a tablet? Not much.
And the truth is, you don't even know if you're getting a full third. And when you take quarters, you don't even know if you're getting a full quarter. So every time you dose yourself, you're giving yourself slightly different dose anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And is there a difference to be seen? In my opinion, being a non-medical doctor, I can't see why there would be something that would be quantifiable in your day-to-day life. With your results, I just don't see it. In fact, I'm not a big believer in like when you're first starting out, I think building up to whatever ultimate dosage you want to take on whatever intake frequency you want to take, I think that makes sense, because you will see improved benefits once you get to whatever your threshold is, your comfort level, whatever. But if you've been doing this for a while and you've been comfortable at a certain level, I can't even say that upping the dosage would even make a difference, because your body's had time to react how it's going to react, and your hair has had time to react the way it's going to react. So for example, if you've been on the medication for 5 years, it's like I just don't see how it would make any visible difference. Your body has done what it's going to do in response to the dosage that you're taking, and upping the dosage I can't see making any sort of quantifiable difference.
Yeah, no.
So just stick to what you're doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I was on a quarter for a good solid 10 years, and then lost a little ground, and then I just bumped it up to cutting it to 3. Spoke to my doctor. He's like, "Yeah, do it in 3s," and then wrote on that for 2 years on that, and then I was just thinking, man, I don't. It's just a thought that went through my head. It's like maybe I should just back down. I don't know.
Look, I have all kinds of thoughts.
Well, you went up to a 3rd for a reason, so I'd stick with it.
Okay.
Was it special?
Yeah. I mean, I have all kinds of thoughts going through my head. Like I have like some skin issues that I've developed as I've been getting older, and I'm like, wait a second, what happens if this shit spreads? I
have some thoughts I'm not even sure of my own.
Yeah, I have like some deep pigmentation on my skin, and I've gone to doctors, and just like it's really nothing in general, but it could be something, and it could be something that's really fucked up, but there's a chance that it won't be, because things have been pretty solid for many years. So if I were to sit there and think, all right, well, is this happening from finasteride, or is this just part of life, or is this going to progress where it becomes a real problem for me? If I kept worrying about that, then I'm spending time where it's not happening, worrying about something that may never happen.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's just causing yourself pain. It's good to be informed, and it's good to know what all the possible downsides are, but there's just no, like, if we were able to say, yeah, you know what, they found that people who take finasteride for 10 years grow a 3rd testicle, that would be a statistical, information that we could provide you with. But no one knows. People, they're told to take aspirin to prevent heart disease or heart attack. Who knows what long-term aspirin use is causing, possible damage it's causing.
I mean, it's just a little, do you guys think it's a lot? It's a little bump up, isn't it?
Listen, I hear it in your voice, and I just want to tell you that this is not a criticism at all, and this is not an attack on your character. But you are a person, as I am. I'm OCD, who kind of needs to get an answer in order to feel soothed. And the only answer that I can give you is, and I understand that. I'm similar. Or I was a lot worse when I was younger. But the only answer that we can give you is it's not a huge bump up, and you are not taking, because you cut your pill, you are not taking the exact same dose daily anyway. You really don't know exactly how much you're putting into your body. Some days you're putting in significantly more, and some days you may be putting significantly less.
Yeah.
So if you thought you were stressed before, put that in your pipe and smoke it. I'm not getting the exact dosage? Fuck!
Yeah. So I would say,
no, now what?
all I would say is just
thanks for calling.
Work with what you have, and what you have right now is a positive experience. And
I'm stoked.
Yeah, and that's what you have now. Trust me. In life, you're going to have a lot of negative experiences that are just going to come out of nowhere. Right now, you're having a positive experience, so just enjoy it.
Don't mess with it.
Don't mess with it, and
don't mess with it.
There's a lot of negative stuff you could think about during this time.
Yeah.
All right, man.
No. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, guys. That's it. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you guys want to go and stuff. So.
Okay, man.
Be safe and keep it up, guys. I love you guys.
No pun intended. All right, you too. Take it easy.
All right. Thanks for calling.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Keep it up, guys.
Keep it up. I'm worried about side effects. Keep it up.
Keep it up. All right. I think that was a good
show.
Good show. And
well,
I
with
think we're
Topstar,
done.
how can it not be? I mean, my God.
That was a great fucking
Homeless
story,
in
man.
India, losing his home, all because of hair. This is what hair does to us. Of course, he didn't realize it was going to happen, but still, I'm sure if we asked him, he'd say he'd do it all again,
dude,
because he's happy with the result.
He bought the materials and the tools and the medication.
DIY FUE.
To do his own hair transplant.
Auto FUE.
Yeah.
I know a doctor that did that once.
Yeah. That was something.
God. Anyway,
But his
was something.
His worked out though. I think it grew.
It did grow, and sometimes that's a bad thing.
But I don't think that did he extract himself? I don't think he extracted himself.
No,
he was just placing. Yeah,
yeah, he was just placing with a with a handheld mirror.
Yeah.
Oh God. Anyway,
this is one crazy industry. Go ahead.
It is. So first off, we have. Let's see, how many people are watching right now? We were up to about 60 people at once in the room, and we only have 21 likes. So
Jesus.
What's up with that, guys? It's our first. It's our first show of the year. We're not feeling the love, and maybe that's why it took so long to come back, because we weren't feeling the love before. I think last one we only had 35 likes. So contribute, boys and girls, if there are any girls in the room. Hit that like button. And just so you know that when you subscribe, and yes, of course, you should subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, when you click the bell for notifications, it takes more than just clicking the bell now. When you click the bell, another pop-up is going to appear asking you what kind of frequency of notifications you want. You got to put all notifications, because I got a contest going on right now, and those of you that have subscribed and have made comments, which is the way that you enter the contest, you're not going to know when I make the video announcing that you've won the contest. So it's in your best interest, even if you are subscribed now, go back and look for the bell, click it if you haven't already, and enable all notifications, because what's the use of ringing the bell if you don't enable all notifications? Do it. That's all I got to say. All right, likes are up to 30. Thank you so much, everyone. That's a good kick in the pants. Not what I was hoping, but it is what it is. Another thing I want to announce and thank a lot of you for is your response to the first hair transplant consultation episode that I put up last week. It was hair transplant consultation episode 1. I put up a pretty cool case that a lot of you liked, and not just by clicking the like button, but made a lot of great comments and asked some great questions about. The next one is premiering tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, 2:30 Eastern time, and I think that's 7:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Another interesting case. It's a young actor, and it's got there's a twist to it. So be sure you comment in that one as well. Let me know what you think of it. But I'm on a roll with this. You guys are liking it and tell me how much you appreciate it. So thank you for the input, and thank you for all the new submissions of people that want to have their consultation with me on YouTube. So thank you very much. Back to you, Spencer.
I have nothing to plug, so let's get out of here.
Let's do it.
I'll give out the websites. I'll give out the websites for everybody. It's Joe's website, hairtransplantmentor.com. Everything Joe Tillman. Check it out. If you want to, again, subscribe to Joe's YouTube channel, it's youtube.com/hairtransplantmentor. Ring the bell. Select whatever he just told you to select so that you can get notified that the show is actually live. You can go to thebaldtruth.com for archives of the program at some point. But, it's funny. I had a physician who applied to the IHRS who had never been to thebaldtruth.com. And he was like, this is great. I have to send patients here. I'm like, Dude, that thing has not been updated since the Civil War. But it still has good content on there. And some of the video content, we were using a service with GFQ. Those videos were removed. So I'd say like maybe we only have about 4 pages deep of content. But people still traffic that thing. Like I don't have to do a thing to it. No one gets upset because new people are balding every day. And they find it.
New people are balding every day.
Every day. So it's not like, oh, how come you're not updating your site? We got a whole bunch of new people who are going to watch 20 shows.
Yeah, and they look at it, they're like, Eureka!
Yeah.
This is some cool shit. I had no
Absolutely.
idea. It's new and fresh, even though it was recorded 12 years ago.
Last time I updated, I was 39 or whatever.
That long ago?
Haven't changed that much. Anyway, no, we updated sometime this year. At least we added a couple of videos sometime this year. What else? The American Hair Loss Association, we are working on the updates to that site too, so that's going to be interesting to see that happen this year. It's AmericanHairLoss.org. And if you are considering utilizing a message forum to get information and to interact with other people, look, we have one. It's baldtruthtalk.com. I always say that so unenthusiastically because I don't like message forums. We have one. We were asked years ago by the physicians to create a atmosphere that was moderated, which I agreed to do because I thought it was important, because message forums are extremely dangerous places, especially when you're considering having surgery. But I still don't think anyone should take much advice from a message forum unless you know where that advice is coming from.
Yeah.
So if you want to interact with other people dealing with hair loss, if you have questions, just want to read a bunch of interesting stories, see some cases, excuse me, check out baldtruthtalk.com. And if you're considering surgical hair restoration, Jesus, I'm dying here. It's fucking finasteride, man. Something's going on. If you want to do some research, do your due diligence, and if you're considering surgical hair restoration, check out the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons. That's IAHRS.org. Or remember, it doesn't matter if they are a member of the organization, they are accepted members, they've been checked out, they have enough cases to apply to the IHRS. That's all great. Any doctor can fuck you up. You have to be prepared for that. Anybody could have a bad day. The thing is, these are the guys that have the most consistently good results in the field. That's the best we can do. That's how I feel about it. You know, I hear people talking about these people are pre-screened, this and that and the other thing. No one could tell. No one knows anything. You do the best that you can do. You provide people access to physicians who are providing the best case studies and the most consistently good cases in the field, who have all the right stuff to make the patient have a good outcome and to help them along the way with medical therapy, so on and so forth. But anyone that tells you that if you go to our doctors, that you're going to have you're guaranteed to have a great experience, walk away.
Walk away.
Walk away. Guys, until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening. Take care.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now